What's up, everybody? Brant Phillips with Real Estate Fundamentals. So today I'm going to go to the mailbag and we're going to talk about owner financing. So I got a message from one of my agent investors on my team and getting into the flipping world. And he's been in the flipping world, but he's getting a little bit more deal flow going on, executing on some more deals. More deals you do, more opportunities that arise. So he sent me this message the other day, and then we connected for a phone call. And I love him. I'm like, man, this is some information I want to share with other people on the show. So basically, he said he's got two properties that he's working on. He's planning to flip. However, both had a ton of interest from clients who are looking for owner financing, and they're saying, hey, can you owner finance these deals to me? So it's not something he had ever done, but he's now considering it and looking at basically some insights on how to structure an owner finance deal. And is it even worth doing? Kind of just want to know, hey man, what's the opportunity here? What are the pros? What are the cons? What are the risks? What are the rewards? All those types of things. So what I want to do is go on have a conversation about owner financing, and I'll be very, very upfront. I love owner financing, the owner financing model. I've been doing it for many, many years. So I love doing owner financing single family properties, creating notes. This is truly a more passive stream of income as compared to, say, rental properties, for example. So I love notes. Let me just talk about the downsides first. Let's address the two biggest downsides, because for some of you, you may say, you know what, I'm not even going to entertain doing owner finance notes after you hear what the downsides are. So the two biggest downsides that you need to understand when creating an owner finance note and selling property via owner financing is, number one, you will lose your tax benefits. You no longer get access to the tax benefits and depreciation and all the things that you get with a rental property, okay? This is a gain. This is a tax gain, all right? So it's a sell. Now, I will let you talk to your accounting professional of whether you show that gain all in the year that it's sold, or if you string that out for many, many years over the life of the mortgage. I'm not that guy to talk to about that, but so do your own due diligence on that. But the number one negative thing with owner financing, when you sell with owner financing, is the loss of the tax advantages. Number two, the loss of the upside. What do I mean by that? So let's say that you owner finance a property that's worth $200,000 today. So you create a note for that. Say your note's 8 to 10% interest on that $200,000. You should theoretically be getting that mailbox money each and every month, which is awesome, which is rad, which is cool. But let's say in 5-10 years that property's worth $250,000, $300,000, $400,000. If that seller sells, that's their gain, right? You will get paid off whatever you're owed on your note, but you lose the upside. So some of you may be saying, why would I even do this? So let's talk about it. So the number one is passive income. Like I said, this is truly, truly passive income. Those of you who know me or know my story, have watched some of my videos, you know that that's how I started my business, was in the world of buying rental property, right? And I got close to 50 rental properties in a few years, and I was like, man, this ain't all it's cracked up to be. I was kind of promised the dream of the passive income and lifestyle, and man, I had a full-time property manager, and some of the situations that we had with tenants and repairs and things like that, it was crushing at times. So I didn't love the model. Now, that being said, I still have rental properties to this day. I have several dozen rental properties that I hold, and I will continue to hold rentals because of tax advantages, because of the upside appreciation, all those things I just mentioned that were downsides to owner finance notes. I keep rental portfolio for those reasons, right? So there's no reason you can't do both, right? There's no reason you can't do multiple things. And I really see owner financing as kind of a hedge, right? Like there's multiple ways that you may not want to put all of your eggs in the same real estate basket, okay? So that to me has been one of the keys to sustainability, is kind of mixing up the portfolio a little bit, right? Like I like an X amount of number of rentals, and I like owner finance notes primarily for passive income. That's the number one reason, okay, that I like owner finance notes. How did I learn about owner finance notes? Well, I was a burned out landlord many, many years ago, probably going back 7-8 years now. I was doing a walkthrough with some of my contractors to do a make ready on one of my rental properties that one of my tenants, I'm not gonna say they destroyed it, but it needed a full paint job and carpet and all this kind of stuff, right? So I was pretty burned out at that time, like, man, I don't want to spend thousands of dollars getting this make ready done, which is gonna wipe out like a year of cash flow essentially. And so they're like, man, we wish we could, one of my painters said, man, I wish I could buy a house like this. I'm like, bro, I will sell this house to you. He's like, I can't get a loan. I'm like, I will finance it for you. I had no clue how, okay? No clue how whatsoever. So one of the big takeaways from this for you watching is who, not how, okay? Who, not how. All right, so who could I call to help with that, right? So started asking buddies in my network and found an attorney who basically really niched in the owner finance world. So I got him to get all the paperwork, documents, loan documents ready. And we basically, me and my painter had a handshake agreement, right? That we took the terms and things that we agreed to, and then we took it to my attorney to make sure it was compliant with the law. So what are things that you need to look, questions you need to answer, things like that? Well, I'll tell you, when I did this 8 years ago, it was a different world in owner financing than it is today. Dodd-Frank had not come into existence, other laws and guidelines that were in existence at play that are now. So fast forwarding to today, right, 2021, as I'm recording this video, we now have what is called an RMLO, as you can see it up here, Residential Mortgage Loan Originator. So nowadays, if you're considering owner financing the property, I would, number one, if you're talking to somebody, you get that handshake agreement, see if you guys agree on rates and terms. We are on average charging 8 to 10% interest, okay? I know some investors who charge more. I know some that charge less. That's our range that we're in. What is that dependent upon? The property, the price point of the property, the borrower themselves, the amount of down payment that they're putting down, the amount of years that they're wanting to amortize the loan. It depends on several factors, okay? But those are the things that we're looking at. And I will tell you that's a minimum 10% interest down payment that we're looking for when we sell a property with owner financing. But after we have that basic agreement, right? Price of the property, interest rate, amortization length, all those types of things. And by the way, check with your state and your laws, but you do have to fully amortize these loans these days, guys. You can't create balloon payments on owner finance notes if it's their primary residence. Okay, so just FYI on that. So get educated about laws in your state. So what we would do though, once we have that basic agreement, handshake agreement, ... those bullet point things, is then we'll go to an RMLO, okay, Residential Mortgage Loan Originator. So they are basically acting as the lender, so to speak, but basically making sure that everything is compliant. Everything is compliant. I shouldn't say they're acting as a lender. They're a safeguard for the borrower, making sure everything that is agreed upon is Dodd-Frank compliant. They're making sure that the borrower can't afford that property, that there's no predatory lending going on, and things like that. So they're not acting as a lender, they're acting as a safeguard against the lender for the borrower, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're going to take this information from your borrower, meaning they're going to check their credit reports, they're going to look at their financials and make sure that they can afford that home based on the price, the rate and terms that you guys have agreed upon. Now, I have only ever had one RMLO turn down a prospective borrower, so most of my borrowers are getting approved, and you ultimately have the final say. But my suggestion would be that you do not accept a borrower if your RMLO is showing that, hey, these people cannot afford this house. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Because in the event it comes to a foreclosure situation, which I have dealt with on 2 occasions with my owner finance notes, it's not fun. You don't want to hamstring yourself. You don't want to put yourself in a bad position where you may not win in that foreclosure. So you want to abide by the RMLO's decisions. You don't want to put somebody in there that can't afford it. Now, some of you may already know this, and you may be asking, you said, Brant, I've read the law in my state. I don't know what the law is in your state, but a lot of states, Texas, for example, it says you do not have to utilize an RMLO unless you're owner financing, more, I think, than 2 properties per year. The law may say that, what I would encourage you to consider is still to use the RMLO in every single instance. Why is that? One, it's a safeguard for yourself in case you have problems with your borrower in the future. Okay, that's the number one thing. The number one thing, okay? You don't want to put yourself in a bad position, because if you go to court these days, judges are going to be looking for that, okay? Number two, in the event you want to sell your note at some point in time to a note buyer, a lot of note buyers absolutely require an RMLO before they'll even look at it. Things are just getting too messy and too hairy world that we live in today, so it's not in favor of the landlord, it's not in favor of the note holder. Things more and more seem to be in favor of the renter or the borrower, more so than guys like us. So guys and gals like us. So those are a couple reasons where I encourage everyone, like I did my buddy. He's like, man, I don't think I have to do that. I'm like, you absolutely don't have to do it, but I would encourage you to. And number three, it's not an expense to you. This is something that the borrower has to pay for, so why not do it, is the thing that I would say. A couple other, closing points as well. We always have a title company closing. Everything with an owner finance deal is exactly like any other real estate deal for the most part, right? We have a real estate attorney create the lender docs. We're going to have a title company closing. We're going to require insurance. We're going to require survey. Most likely we have that already, but if we don't, we're going to require a survey from them. And last and certainly not least, for those of you who watched all the way to the end, I highly recommend you using a loan servicing company. Okay, this is going to be a third-party escrow company, servicing company that's going to collect the payments from the borrower. And this includes PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So once that note is created, first payment's due, they're not paying us, because this is much more complex than with a rental property, right? Where you're collecting rent, and that's one little line item thing in your QuickBooks or your property management software. That's fine and easy and not a problem there. This is a mortgage, guys, so there's going to be an amortization schedule that has to be abided by. There's going to taxes and insurance. Like technically you would need to set up escrow accounts in your bank account and know what you're doing to manage these things. That's something I don't care to know how to do, nor do I want to do, when I can delegate that, right? And as entrepreneurs, we should be looking as many things as we can delegate and automate, especially when they're not in our core competency and when they're free. Okay, so whenever you utilize a third-party escrow company, it's something that the borrower has to pay for. They're going to pay a transactional fee anywhere from $10 to $35 a month, depending on who you use. Now you need to let them know up front. That's something your RMLO needs to know, and they'll factor it into the qualifications. But I would 100% use a loan servicing company, because you start getting, even one of these things, you don't even want to do it with one. Just trust me on that. Whenever you start getting dozens and dozens and dozens of notes like we do, plus adding on rental properties and things like that, you don't want to be worrying about amortization schedules and figuring out payoffs and was insurance paid and were taxes paid and all that kind of stuff. And if they have the money to pay it, you want it escrowed. You want to get a screenshot or be able to log into your account each and every month, or get an email showing, hey, principal and interest is paid, which is being ACH to your account, and taxes and insurance are being escrowed, so when it's time to pay taxes and insurance. So guys, that's kind of my summary on things to look out for if you're getting into the world of owner financing. I love it. Like, once again, very passive. So think about it. You're not responsible for repairs anymore, upkeep of the property, all that kind of stuff. You're eliminating those phone calls on those little headache repairs that landlords get and property managers get every single day. You're not getting those. Okay, you're getting essentially passive income, aka mailbox money. And you're not even collecting payments, right? You're using a third party that's collecting payments, wiring the money to your account. So for those reasons, guys, I'm a big believer in creating owner finance notes. So I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you got a lot from it. If you do, show some love with thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you guys. Let me know if I can help, guys. This came just from an emailer request. If you guys have questions, things that you'd like to see me talk about, share my experiences with, I'd be glad to do so. So I appreciate you guys watching Real Estate Fundamentals. We'll talk to you guys later.